The 48 Laws of Power. Introduction. Power. The very word carries weight. It stirs ambition, fear, envy, and desire. For centuries, men and women have killed for it, sacrificed for it, and built empires upon it. But what is power, really? It is not just wealth. It is not just a throne or a title or a position. Power is far more subtle. It is the invisible current that runs through every interaction. It determines who speaks and who remains silent, who rises and who falls, who survives and who is erased. Power is not confined to kings and presidents. It lives in families, in offices, in friendships, in every room where two or more human beings meet. The 48 Laws of Power. By Robert Greene is not a book about ethics. You can't tell what is good or terrible from it. It's a mirror. It illustrates the true nature of power. The same laws recur repeatedly throughout the ages, whether in emperors' courts, political backrooms, or corporate dealings. Ignoring them makes one a pawn. Learning them makes you a player. What you are about to hear is not theory. These are weapons. Each law is a blade, a shield, a hidden tool you can use or defend against. Some of them will make you uncomfortable. Others will open your eyes, but all of them will remind you of one truth. Power is neutral. Like fire, it can warm or it can destroy. How you use it will decide your fate. So listen carefully, not just with your ears, but with your instincts. Because once you learn these laws, you will begin to see them everywhere. In the office, at the dinner table, in history, in your own relationships. You cannot unsee them. Now, let us step into the game. Law 1. Never outshine the master. Picture a court filled with whispers. A brilliant advisor dazzles the king with clever words, sharper wit, and ideas far beyond the ruler's own. At first, the king smiles. But soon, admiration turns into unease. The advisor is too capable, too admired, too bright. And in the game of power, the master cannot afford a rival star. Within months, the once celebrated advisor is exiled, ruined, punished not for failure, but for shining too brightly. This law is simple yet brutal. Never outshine the master. If you stand beside someone in authority, make them feel secure. Let them feel smarter, stronger, more important than they really are. If you reveal too much of your own brilliance, you invite envy, fear, and retaliation. This does not mean hiding your talent. It means disguising it, bending it, offering it in a way that flatters those above you. Show enough to be valued, but never so much that they feel eclipsed. Remember, power is not only about what you can do, it is about how others perceive you. Outshine the master, and you will pay the price. Let them shine, and you will rise quietly in their shadow. Law 2. Conceal your intentions. Imagine playing chess with a rival who can see your every move before you make it. How long would you last? Power is no different. If others can read your plans, they can stop you before you begin. This is why concealment is essential. Keep your true goals hidden behind a veil of distraction. Speak openly about harmless matters, reveal small truths, and create the illusion of transparency. But never show the heart of your strategy. The less people know, the less they can resist. When you share your plans too freely, you surrender your advantage. Even friends may betray you unintentionally by gossiping. Rivals will anticipate and prepare. But when your intentions are cloaked, your moves seem sudden, unstoppable. Concealment does not mean silence alone. It means misdirection. Let others think they understand you. Give them false trails to follow. Speak of ambitions you do not truly hold. By the time they realize your real aim, you are already at the finish line. The second law teaches this. In the game of power, secrecy is strength. Do not bare your soul. Guard your plans like treasure, for once revealed, they belong to everyone but you. Law 3. Guard your reputation with your life. A lifetime's worth of labor can be destroyed by a single whisper. Consider your reputation to be your head's unseen crown. Everyone sees it, even if you don't. It determines your level of respect, trust, and treatment. No matter how talented you are, you lose your reputation once that crown is damaged. In history, kings could lose armies, land, even wealth. But if they kept their reputation, they could rebuild. Without it, they were finished. Reputation is fragile because it exists entirely in the minds of others. It does not matter what is true, it matters what is believed. That is why the wise guard their reputation fiercely. Do not allow small insults or attacks to pass unnoticed, for they plant seeds of doubt that grow into ruin. Respond strategically, not emotionally, but respond. At the same time, do not tie your name to reckless behavior or petty quarrels that drag it through the mud. Think of your reputation as your shield. Protect it at all costs. If you lose money, you can earn more. If you lose possessions, you can replace them. But if you lose your reputation, you lose the foundation upon which all power is built. Law 4. Always court attention. Power lives in visibility. To be ignored is to be forgotten, and to be forgotten is to be powerless. The world is crowded with voices, ideas, and noise. Those who fade into the background might be good, even brilliant, but they will not be remembered. Throughout history, leaders, artists, and rulers understood the value of spectacle. Caesar paraded through Rome in triumph. Napoleon staged grand ceremonies. Even in our modern world, the successful know how to command attention through image, timing, and presence. Attention is not begged for, it is crafted. It must be intentional. Too much, and you appear desperate. Too little, and you vanish. The trick is to create moments that capture the imagination of others, to make yourself memorable in ways your rivals cannot match. Learn how to be seen without overexposing yourself. A single dramatic gesture, a striking appearance, a well-placed word at the right time. These can echo louder than endless effort in silence. The world rewards those who stand out. To hide is to surrender the game before it begins. The fourth law, court attention relentlessly, for obscurity is the true death of power. Law 5. Win through actions, never through argument. Picture two men locked in debate. Voices rise, tempers flare. Each believes he is right. But when the shouting ends, nothing has changed. Pride has been wounded, resentment planted. The words hang in the air, but no one is truly convinced. This is the weakness of the argument. It appeals to logic, while humans are ruled by pride and emotion. To be proven wrong in front of others feels humiliating, and humiliation breeds bitterness. The loser of the argument may nod in the moment, but he will remember, and he will strike back when he can. Actions, on the other hand, leave no room for denial. A bridge built speaks louder than 1,000 speeches on engineering. A victory achieved in silence crushes debate before it begins. Power is not about who explains best, but who demonstrates without words. This law is dangerous to ignore. The more you talk, the more you reveal. The more you argue, the more enemies you create. But when you let your actions speak, people cannot refute what stands before their eyes. The fifth law, show, don't tell, prove, don't argue. In silence, your victories roar the loudest. Law 6. Make others dependent on you. In the wild, a bird chained to another cannot fly away. In the game of power, you must become that chain. If people can live, work, or succeed without you, they will. And when they do, your importance vanishes. Dependency is the quiet fortress of influence. The more someone needs you for knowledge, for resources, for protection, for opportunity, the less likely they are to abandon you. They may resent you, but they cannot leave. They may whisper, but they cannot betray. To cut ties would be to cut off their own survival. Think of the advisor who controls the king's treasury or the executive who holds the key relationships in a company. Remove them, and the structure collapses. That is why they are secure. The danger comes in giving too much. If you teach someone everything, if you hand over all the tools they need, you make yourself disposable. Keep a portion of your knowledge hidden, a piece of your power reserved, so that others always return to you. The sixth law, independence makes you replaceable. But when you are needed, you are untouchable. Build dependency, and you build unshakable power. Law 7. Use selective honesty to disarm. Imagine a thief who returns a lost purse to its owner. Grateful, the owner now trusts him more than ever, never suspecting that the thief's true goal lies elsewhere. This is the power of selective honesty. A single gesture of truth that blinds others to your larger designs. Humans crave trust. They want to believe in sincerity. When you give them a taste of honesty, they relax, their defenses lower, and their suspicion fades. In this softened state, they stop looking for deception. That is when you strike. But beware. This law is not about becoming a liar in every breath. It is about choosing when to reveal the truth and when to conceal. Too much secrecy breeds doubt. Too many lies make you predictable. A well-placed act of transparency, admitting a small fault, confessing a harmless truth, sharing a story that makes you look vulnerable, creates an image of reliability. Once that image is formed, it is difficult to shake. People will excuse your later actions because they have already decided you are trustworthy. The 7th law: honesty is a tool, not a virtue, in the game of power. Use it sparingly and use it wisely. Law 8. Crush your enemy completely. Mercy is a noble word, but in the world of power, it is often fatal. An enemy half defeated is an enemy in waiting. They retreat, rebuild, and return stronger, fueled by revenge. What you leave alive today will haunt you tomorrow. History offers countless warnings. Leaders who spared their rivals out of compassion found themselves dethroned years later by the same spared hands. A weed not pulled from its root grows back fiercer than before. To leave an enemy standing is to plant the seed of your own destruction. This law does not encourage cruelty for cruelty's sake. It demands clarity. Either avoid conflict altogether, or if you must engage, finish it fully. Destroy not only your enemy's resources, but also their reputation, their confidence, and their will to rise against you again. Do it quietly if possible, without open spectacle, so that the lesson is felt but not loudly proclaimed. To fight halfway is to invite danger. To fight fully is to secure peace. The 8th law: when you strike, strike so thoroughly that your rival cannot return. In the game of power, incomplete victories are defeats in disguise. Law 9. Keep people in suspense. Cultivate an air of mystery. Predictability is comforting, but it kills respect. When people know exactly what you will say or do, they stop paying attention. They grow careless around you, dismissive of your presence. But when you shroud yourself in mystery, when your next move is uncertain, people lean in. They whisper about you. They imagine possibilities, dangers, or secrets. Their minds do the work for you. Mystery has always been a weapon of rulers. Ancient kings hid behind veils, speaking rarely, allowing rumor and imagination to inflate their power. Leaders who say little are feared more than those who chatter endlessly. What cannot be measured cannot be controlled. You must learn to be unpredictable, cancel appearances without explanation, offer hints of your plans but never reveal the whole. Change your rhythm so no one can settle into certainty about you. In suspense, people remain alert, cautious, and respectful. But beware, do not become so strange that you appear unhinged or so erratic that you lose credibility. Mystery must be art, not chaos. The 9th law: keep others guessing. Uncertainty magnifies power. Predictability makes you ordinary. Law 10. Avoid isolation. Stay connected. When threatened, it is tempting to withdraw, to build walls, to retreat into safety, to separate yourself from rivals and dangers. But isolation, though it feels secure, is a silent poison. The isolated man loses touch with the world. He no longer hears whispers of betrayal, no longer sees the shifting tides of alliances. Cut off from information, he becomes blind. Cut off from influence, he becomes powerless. Alone, even the strongest fortress becomes a prison. History shows this again and again. Rulers who locked themselves away in towers, convinced of their strength, were overthrown because they could not sense the danger outside their walls. The general who isolates himself from his soldiers becomes irrelevant. The leader who surrounds himself only with flatterers loses sight of the truth. Connection is survival. You must maintain ties to the networks of influence, friends, rivals, even enemies. Listen, observe, stay among the living currents of human affairs. Information is the lifeblood of power, and you cannot drink it in solitude. The 10th law: never isolate. Engage. Stay visible. Keep your ear to the ground. The fortress you build to protect yourself may become the tomb that buries you. Law 11. Make your presence rare to increase respect. Familiarity is comforting, but it also breeds contempt. The more available you are, the less others value you. Like gold, your presence must be rare to be precious. Think of the guest who overstays his welcome. At first, people are delighted by his company, but the more often he appears, the less remarkable he becomes. Eventually, his presence feels ordinary, even annoying. The same is true of leaders, friends, lovers, and allies. When you are always present, you become background noise. When you step away, your absence creates longing. Powerful people understand this. They appear at chosen moments, never too often, never too long. Their scarcity creates anticipation. When they arrive, everyone notices, because they have not been dulled by constant exposure. You must learn to withdraw strategically. Step back from the crowd so that your reappearance feels like an event. Resist the urge to be everywhere, to answer every call, to make yourself endlessly accessible. Instead, let others wonder about you, miss you, and crave your return. The 11th law: limit your presence. Your value multiplies when you are not always within reach. In the absence, power grows. Law 12. Use spectacle and drama to command attention. Humans are creatures of the eye and the ear. Logic may convince for a moment, but spectacle captivates for a lifetime. A single dramatic gesture, a carefully staged performance, can burn itself into memory and secure power more effectively than years of quiet effort. Throughout history, the great have understood this law. Kings staged coronations with crowns and trumpets. Generals marched their troops in parades of victory. Even in the modern world, leaders use grand ceremonies, bold symbols, and orchestrated events to shape public imagination. You must do the same. Create moments that cannot be ignored. Do not rely only on words. Wrap your message in images, sound, and theater. A well-timed display can silence critics and inspire loyalty, not because it proves your power, but because it makes people feel your power. But use the spectacle wisely. Too much, and you look desperate for attention. Too little, and you fade away. Find the balance. Just enough drama to make your presence unforgettable without descending into empty showmanship. The 12th law: power is theater. Those who master the stage master the crowd. Law 13. Think as you like, but behave as others expect. The human heart craves freedom, but society demands masks. You may think differently, dream wildly, and plan secretly. But if you reveal too much of your true self, you risk rejection, ridicule, or even attack. People fear what does not fit their expectations. They are suspicious of those who seem too strange, too rebellious, too unwilling to play by the rules. The wise conceal their inner world. Outwardly they conform. They dress in the fashions of the time, speak the language of the crowd, and move as though they belong. Inwardly, however, they remain untamed. They keep their thoughts free, their ideas bold, their strategies alive. The mask is not a weakness, it is protection. Think of history's greatest innovators. Many of them hid their radical visions behind the appearance of normalcy until the time was ripe. To reveal everything too soon is to invite resistance, but to blend in is to survive long enough to make change possible. The 13th law: protect your independence with the cloak of conformity. Think as you like, fiercely, freely, but behave as others expect. Behind the mask, your true self grows strong. Law 14. Win through absence and silence. Absence sharpens desire. Silence creates tension. Together, They generate power. When you speak too much, you reveal too much. When you appear too often, you lose value. But when you hold your tongue, when you vanish for a time, people begin to notice your absence. They think about you, wonder about you, and even magnify your importance in their imagination. This is why the powerful often appear sparingly. They do not attend every gathering, nor do they fill the air with endless words. When they arrive, it feels like an event. When they speak, silence falls because people know they will not hear those words again soon. Absence creates mystery. Silence forces others to lean in. By withholding yourself, you raise your value. By disappearing, you teach others that your presence is not to be taken for granted. But be careful, withdraw too long, and you may be forgotten. The art is in balance. Enough silence to command respect, enough absence to create longing, but never so much that you vanish completely. The 14th law: let absence and silence speak for you. In the emptiness, your power multiplies. Law 15. Use enemies, not friends. Friends are comforting, but comfort dulls the blade. Friends bring emotion, expectation, and entitlement into the game of power. They expect favors, they feel secure, and over time, their loyalty weakens. A friend may love you, but that same love can twist into jealousy or resentment the moment your success overshadows theirs. Enemies, on the other hand, are sharper tools. An enemy has something to prove. They cannot afford carelessness because they know you watch them closely. If they join you, their loyalty is often stronger than that of a friend, because betrayal would destroy them twice over. Their ambition, their fear, and their hunger keep them disciplined. History is full of rulers who brought former enemies into their courts. Why? Because those enemies worked harder, stayed more vigilant, and were eager to erase their past conflicts through service. This law does not mean you should never trust a friend. It means you must not rely on friendship as the foundation of power. Sentiment blinds. Strategy sees clearly. The 15th law: beware of the friend who feels secure, and respect the enemy who must always prove his worth. Law 16. Plan everything to the end. The battlefield is littered with the bodies of those who rushed in without foresight. The streets of history are filled with leaders who won a victory, only to lose the war because they did not see beyond the moment. Power belongs to those who think far ahead. Every action you take must be part of a larger design. Every move should anticipate not only the next step, but the step after, and the step after that. To act without a plan is to hand yourself to chance, and chance is a cruel master. Planning is not rigidity. It is a vision. It is the ability to see where today's decision leads tomorrow. When you plan to the end, you are never surprised, never trapped, never left vulnerable. Even if fate intervenes, your preparation allows you to adapt. Do not be fooled by short-term victories. Do not celebrate too early. The man who wins today but is unprepared for tomorrow is weaker than the one who loses today but has already mapped the path to future triumph. The 16th law: in the game of power, the ending must be written before the first move is made. Law 17. Play on people's fantasies. Reality is heavy. It weighs people down with duties, disappointments, and limitations. Most live lives that do not match their dreams, and so they hunger, not for more reality, but for escape, for visions of something higher, richer, more magical. This hunger is your opportunity. Those who deal in cold truth may be respected, but rarely loved. Those who weave dreams are adored. The successful ruler, the charismatic leader, the persuasive merchant all know this secret. They do not simply offer goods or policies. They offer visions, kingdoms of prosperity, eternal youth, sudden fortune, salvation from despair. People do not follow logic, but their longing. They do not want the world as it is. They want the world as it could be. Give them fantasy and they will surrender their loyalty to you. Crush them with truth and they will turn to someone else who feeds their illusions. But beware, fantasies must be carefully managed. Promise too much and disappointment will become your downfall. The art lies in giving people just enough illusion to keep them dreaming, while never letting them taste full disillusionment. The 17th law, reality is heavy but fantasy floats. Offer wings, not chains, and the crowd will follow. Law 18. Appear simple, hide complexity. The sharpest minds often draw suspicion. Complexity intimidates. Those who appear too clever, too intricate in their schemes, invite envy and fear. People think, if he is this cunning, what might he do to me? And so they plot against brilliance, not because it has harmed them, but because it unsettles them. The wise conceal their depth. Outwardly, they present themselves as simple, modest, ordinary. They act as though they are like everyone else, predictable, harmless, even dull. Beneath that mask, however, they calculate, they observe, they weave strategies invisible to the eye. This principle has been used by great players of power throughout history. They spoke little, dressed plainly, behaved humbly, while secretly orchestrating vast designs. Their enemies, underestimating them, left openings they could exploit. You must learn to do the same. Never reveal the full measure of your intelligence. Do not display the complexity of your thinking. Keep your brilliance hidden behind a curtain of simplicity. Let others dismiss you as ordinary, while you remain extraordinary in secret. The 18th law. The dull mask is a weapon. Appear simple, but within, remain unshakably complex. Law 19. Act boldly. Nothing attracts attention like boldness. The timid wait, hesitate, calculate endlessly, and in the process, their opportunities vanish. The bold, on the other hand, step forward with fire in their eyes, and the world makes way for them, not because they are always right, but because boldness itself carries a kind of magic. Hesitation is dangerous. It signals weakness. It invites others to doubt you, to overtake you, to dismiss you. When you hesitate, you reveal fear, and fear draws predators. But boldness shocks. It unsettles rivals. Even if you lack perfect preparation, the sheer confidence of your actions convinces others that you know exactly what you're doing. Think of generals who charge when logic says retreat. Think of leaders who seize the stage before anyone else dares to speak. Boldness creates momentum, and momentum creates followers. The timid rarely inspire. The bold always do. Of course, boldness carries risk, but inaction carries greater risk. To stand still is to be forgotten. To move with audacity is to command. The 19th law, step forward without apology, without hesitation. In a world that rewards certainty, even false confidence is stronger than timid truth. Law 20. Know who you're dealing with. All people are not alike. Some forgive, others never forget. Some are vain, some insecure, some dangerous. To treat them all the same is to invite disaster. History is full of those who insulted the wrong person and paid with their careers, their fortunes, even their lives. The careless word, the thoughtless slight, the poorly chosen joke, all can awaken the wrath of someone whose pride cannot bear it. And when such a person decides to strike back, the cost is always higher than you imagined. The wise study people with the same care as they study maps or battlefields. They watch closely. They notice sensitivities, tempers, and obsessions. They ask, what does this person fear? What does this person crave? What will they never forgive? Once you know these things, you know how to approach, how to flatter, how to avoid missteps. Do not assume. Do not rush. Each person is a puzzle, and to ignore that puzzle is to stumble blindly. The 20th law, know your opponents, your allies, your masters. One careless move against the wrong person can undo a lifetime of victories. Law 21. Do not commit to anyone. The world loves loyalty. It praises devotion, applauds those who pledge themselves completely. But in the game of power, total commitment is a trap. The moment you bind yourself to one side, one master, or one faction, you lose flexibility. Your fate is tied to theirs, and if they fall, you fall with them. Powerful people understand the value of independence. They make others court their favor, playing both sides when necessary, but never binding themselves too tightly to either. By refusing to commit, they keep everyone guessing. Rivals wonder where their true loyalty lies. Allies grow desperate for reassurance. In this desperation, both sides work harder to win them over. The danger of commitment is that it closes doors. The advantage of independence is that it multiplies opportunities. When you belong to no one fully, you remain free to shift with the winds of fortune. But independence requires discipline. The temptation to choose sides is strong. Resist it. Appear supportive when useful, but hold back your full allegiance. The 21st law: commit only to yourself. All others are temporary alliances, useful only as long as they serve your greater design. Law 22. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Trust is the softest armor a person can wear, and the easiest to pierce. When someone believes you are their friend, they drop their guard. They speak more freely, reveal more secrets, and show you parts of themselves they would otherwise keep hidden. This is why the role of the friend is one of the most powerful disguises in the game of power. To pose as a friend is not to lie in every moment. It is to listen, to sympathize, to appear harmless. Your smile becomes a key, unlocking doors that suspicion would keep closed. Once inside, you gather information, not through interrogation, but through patience. Every word, every gesture, every confession is material for your strategy. Enemies can be watched from afar, but friends give you access to the hidden rooms of the mind. The powerful use this access not to destroy unnecessarily, but to anticipate, to control, to manipulate when the time is right. But never forget, this tactic must be hidden. If people suspect you of spying, the disguise collapses, and with it, your influence. The 22nd law: wear the mask of friendship, but keep your ears sharper than your smile. Law 23. Crush resistance with charm. There are two ways to bend people to your will: force and attraction. Force breeds resistance. When you push, they push back. When you command, they obey reluctantly, waiting for the chance to rebel. Charm, however, dissolves resistance without a fight. Charm is a subtle weapon. It is the art of making others feel seen, valued, and admired. When you compliment sincerely, when you smile at the right moment, when you listen intently, people lower their defenses. Their pride is soothed, their vanity stroked. They no longer see you as a rival, but as an ally, even as you quietly guide them where you want them to go. Charm does not mean weakness, it means control through softness. Honey attracts more than vinegar. A charming word, a graceful gesture, can open doors that brute force would only slam shut. The danger is in overdoing it. Too much charm appears manipulative, too obvious. The key is balance, enough to disarm, never so much that it seems calculated. The 23rd law: master the gentle art of charm. Resistance melts when people want to follow you, and they want to follow those who make them feel good about themselves. Law 24. Behave like a king to be treated like one. Respect is rarely given freely. It must be demanded not with words, but with presence. When you act with dignity, when you carry yourself with confidence, people treat you accordingly. But if you act small, insecure, apologetic, others will step over you. The world takes cues from how you treat yourself. Those who believe they are worthy of honor receive it. Those who doubt themselves are doubted by all. This is why kings, queens, and leaders of every age move with a regal air. Even when they are uncertain, they act as though they belong on the throne. And so, people believe they do. You do not need a crown to embody this law. In your walk, in your speech, in the way you enter a room, show quiet authority. Do not rush. Do not fidget. Do not lower yourself to begging or apologizing for your existence. The more confidently you carry yourself, the more others assume you have reason to be confident. The 24th law: behave as royalty in your own life. Treat yourself as worthy, and others will treat you the same. Power begins in posture, in presence, in the silent claim of your own dignity. Law 25. Recreate yourself. The world will try to pin you down with labels, who you are, what you've done, where you belong. But those labels are chains, and if you accept them, you will remain trapped in a version of yourself that no longer serves you. Powerful people refuse to be defined once and for all. They understand that life is theatre, and they are both actor and playwright. When the role grows old, they discard it and write a new one. The ability to reinvent yourself keeps you unpredictable, fresh, and beyond the grasp of those who want to control you. Think of leaders who transformed from soldiers into statesmen, from unknowns into legends, from the forgotten into the unforgettable. Their power came not from clinging to one identity, but from adapting, evolving, and recreating themselves to match the times. Do not allow the world to lock you into a single form. Do not let your past limit your future. Recreate yourself, with new skills, new appearances, new masks. Each rebirth makes you harder to pin down, harder to defeat. The 25th law: be the author of your own identity. Those who adapt endlessly cannot be destroyed. Law 26. Keep your hands clean. Power attracts scrutiny. Every mistake, every cruelty, every stain can be used against you. That is why the wise keep their hands spotless, even when their designs are ruthless. When something ugly must be done, betrayal, punishment, or manipulation, let others do it for you. Use intermediaries, scapegoats, or loyal servants. Let the dirt cling to them while your reputation remains untarnished. If a plan fails, blame must never reach your name. If a harsh order is carried out, let it seem as though it was someone else's idea. The image you project is as important as the deeds you perform. You must remain above suspicion, untouchable, admired, even while moving the pieces of the game behind the curtain. People forgive a charming face. They do not forgive a hand they see covered in blood. But beware. Do not make your use of others too obvious, or they will resent you. The trick is subtlety. Guide quietly. Step back when the deed is done. Appear innocent even when you are the true architect. The 26th law: your reputation must remain pure, even when your actions are not. Let others carry the dirt, you must remain clean. Law 27. Play on people's need to believe. Human beings crave meaning. They search for guidance, for rituals, for something larger than themselves to give structure to their lives. When life feels uncertain, they will cling to any figure who promises direction, even if the promise is vague, even if the hope is illusory. This hunger has been exploited by rulers, prophets, cult leaders, and politicians throughout history. They understood that people are not led by logic, but by belief. Offer them a vision, surround it with symbols and cloak it in mystery, and they will give you loyalty beyond reason. They will fight for you, defend you, even sacrifice themselves for the dream you represent. But this is dangerous ground. If you ignite belief, you must also control it. Fanaticism is a fire. It gives you power, but it can also consume you. When people believe too strongly, they may turn against you the moment you fail to fulfill their expectations. The 27th law: never underestimate the human need for faith. Provide it carefully, channel it strategically, and you will command devotion. Deny it, and they will turn to someone else who does. Belief is the most powerful leash, but also the most dangerous. Law 28. Enter action with boldness. Boldness is repeated in the laws because it is repeated in life. It is the difference between those who are remembered and those who vanish. The timid hesitate, weighing every risk until opportunity slips away. The bold leap, and in leaping, they create momentum that carries them forward. Hesitation is more dangerous than error. A mistake made boldly can often be corrected, even forgiven. But hesitation signals weakness. It invites rivals to attack. It tells the world you do not believe in yourself. So why should anyone else believe in you? When you move boldly, you force others to react. They scramble to catch up, to adjust, to defend. In that scrambling, you gain an advantage. Boldness is not recklessness. It is decisive action taken with conviction. Even if you lack every resource, if you appear certain, people will assume you know more than they do. Think of the generals who charged into battle with less, but won because they inspired their soldiers with sheer courage. Think of the leaders who seized a stage or a microphone, not because they had the best words, but because they spoke with fire. The 28th law, move with audacity. In a world of hesitation, boldness itself becomes power. Law 29. Control the options. Let others play with the cards you deal. People like to believe they are free. They like to think their choices are their own. But freedom is often an illusion, and the skilled player of power knows how to construct that illusion. When you control the options, you control the outcome. Offer people multiple paths, but ensure that each path leads to a result that serves your interests. They will believe they are acting independently, but in reality, they are following the map you have drawn for them. This technique is subtle, but it is everywhere. Politicians give voters two opposing choices, but either way, the policy remains unchanged. Merchants offer packages, small, medium, large, and most customers gravitate to the middle, not realizing the real decision was engineered in advance. Even in personal life, when you ask someone, "Would you like to do this now or later?" you are guiding them toward the action you already desire. The power lies not in forcing, but in shaping. People resist coercion, but they rarely resist choice, even when the choice is false. The 29th law. Frame the game. When you control the cards on the table, you control the players sitting at it. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Greatness loses some of its power when it appears labored. If people see the sweat, the endless struggle, the repeated failures behind your success, admiration fades. They may respect your effort, but they will not feel awe. Awe belongs to those who make the difficult look easy. The world is enchanted by mastery that seems natural. The dancer who moves as though born for the stage, the strategist who predicts outcomes with uncanny precision, the artist who creates beauty as though it flowed from the air itself. Behind the scenes, there may be endless hours of practice, planning, and pain, but the curtain must never reveal that. This is not to say effort is bad. It is essential. But effort must remain hidden. Like a magician who never shows his tricks, you must let people see only the result, never the grind behind it. Hide your struggles. Conceal the scaffolding that holds your victories together. Let others believe your accomplishments are effortless, almost divine. In this illusion lies authority. The 30th law. Perfection is not in doing the work, it is in disguising the work. Law 31. Play to people's emotions, not their logic. Facts rarely move hearts. Arguments built on logic may be sound, but they are cold, and people are not ruled by cold reason. They are ruled by pride, by fear, by desire, by love, by anger. If you aim for the head, you may persuade a little, but if you aim for the heart, you can persuade completely. The wise know this. They speak not in dry explanations, but in stories that awaken feeling. They do not simply argue, they inspire. They make people feel as though they are part of something larger, something personal, something emotional. And once the emotions are captured, the mind bends easily to follow. Consider how movements rise. Rarely do they begin with numbers or charts. They begin with songs, with symbols, with fiery speeches that stir the blood. The leader who can ignite emotion can command loyalty that defies all logic. So when you seek influence, speak to feelings first. Frame your message in ways that touch identity, pride, or hope. Let logic follow later, quietly, once hearts are already yours. The 31st law. Logic convinces slowly, but emotion conquers instantly. Rule the heart, and the mind will obey. Law 32. Despise the free lunch. What costs nothing is rarely worth anything. A gift freely given may appear generous, but beneath it often lies a chain. Accept it blindly, and you may find yourself bound by hidden debts. In the world of power, everything has a price. When you take something for free, you surrender a piece of your independence. The giver holds the upper hand, for generosity demands repayment. If not in money, then in loyalty, in favors, in submission. Better to pay your own way, better to invest your own resources so that your victories belong fully to you. What you earn, you control. What you are given, you owe. This law is not about rejecting kindness, but about recognizing the danger behind it. There are those who offer free gifts to ensnare. A free meal, a free favor, a free alliance, all come with hooks buried beneath the surface. If you must accept, do so cautiously, knowing that the chain will eventually tighten. The 32nd law: nothing is truly free. To despise the free lunch is to preserve your freedom. Pay now so that later you do not pay far more. Law 33. Discover each man's weakness. Every person, no matter how strong they appear, has a hidden crack in their armor. It may be pride, vanity, insecurity, fear, or desire. Find this weakness, and you hold the key to their behavior. Ignore it, and you are blind in the game of power. The art of influence begins with observation. Listen more than you speak. Watch closely when people are praised, when they are insulted, when they are tempted. Notice what sparks anger, what makes them restless, what draws their eyes. These small signals reveal their hidden levers. Once you know a person's weakness, you can guide them as easily as reins guide a horse. You can tempt them with what they desire, soothe them with what they fear, or unbalance them by striking where they are most fragile. This does not always mean using their weakness cruelly. Sometimes it means protecting it, appearing as a savior, and earning loyalty that cannot be broken. The 33rd law: study people as you would study maps. Their weaknesses are their roads, their vulnerabilities are their doors. Once you know where they bend, you know how to move them. Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Respect begins with how you carry yourself. If you behave as though you are small, others will treat you as small. If you act apologetic, insecure, or desperate, you invite others to dominate you. But if you carry yourself with dignity, as though you deserve respect, people will assume you do. Royalty is not about crowns or palaces. It is about posture, tone, and presence. Speak calmly, not hastily. Walk as though the ground belongs to you. Do not chase attention. Let it come to you. When you treat yourself as valuable, others accept that value as fact. Those who bow too low are rarely lifted. Those who stand tall are rarely ignored. Even if your circumstances are humble, your bearing can be noble. This creates a paradox. When you act like royalty without possessions, people believe you are destined for greatness, and soon opportunities appear to confirm it. The 34th law: command respect by the way you command yourself. Be royal in your own fashion, in your own life. Act as though honor is your right, and honor will follow you. Law 35. Master the art of timing. Success is not only about what you do, but when you do it. A perfect move at the wrong moment is wasted. A mediocre move at the perfect moment can win everything. Power belongs to those who understand the rhythm of events, who wait for the tide instead of pushing against it. Impatience is the enemy of timing. It drives people to act too soon, to reveal their hand before the stage is set. Delay, however, has its own dangers. Hesitation can cause the right moment to slip away forever. The art is in balance, knowing when to hold back and when to strike. Nature teaches this law. The farmer does not sow seeds in winter or reap before harvest. He studies the season, he waits, and he acts when the time is ripe. In the same way, the strategist studies moods, cycles, and opportunities. He does not act because he is restless. He acts because the moment demands it. The 35th law: timing is invisible power. Those who rush appear reckless. Those who delay appear weak, but those who strike at the precise moment seem unstoppable, as if fate itself bends to their will. Law 36. Disdain. what you cannot have. Desire is a form of weakness. When you show that you crave something beyond your reach, you reveal your lack. Rivals see your hunger and use it against you. Worse still, longing makes you bitter, restless, and distracted. The powerful do not chase what is denied them. They treat it with contempt, as if it were beneath them. In doing so, they rob it of importance. What you ignore shrinks in the eyes of others. What you disdain loses power over you. History is filled with rulers who wasted years pursuing what they could not possess, a forbidden crown, an untouchable love, an unreachable land. Their obsession weakened them, and their enemies grew strong. Meanwhile, those who dismissed the unattainable turned their energy to what was possible, and in time created greater victories than they had first imagined. This law demands discipline. It is natural to want, to desire, to covet. But the wise turn desire into disdain, and in doing so they remain unshaken. The 36th law: do not cling to what is out of reach. To scorn it is to rise above it. In contempt lies freedom. Law 37. Create compelling spectacles. Words fade. Logic convinces for a moment, but is soon forgotten. What endures is the image, the symbol, the spectacle. A single dramatic gesture can outlive 1,000 speeches. Power is amplified when it is wrapped in theater. Throughout history, rulers understood this instinctively. Pharaohs built colossal monuments, not just for the gods, but to etch their power into stone. Emperors staged parades of victory so grand that even enemies bowed in awe. Religious leaders raised cathedrals whose sheer size overwhelmed worshippers with reverence. You too must learn to create spectacles in your own sphere. A well-timed display, a bold presentation, a striking announcement, a symbolic act can capture attention in ways words alone cannot. Spectacles bypass reason and speak directly to the imagination. They turn your presence into a story people retell long after the moment has passed. But remember, empty showmanship is dangerous. If your spectacle is not backed by substance, people will eventually see through it. The art is to amplify truth with theater, to dress your power in a form people cannot ignore. The 37th law: power that dazzles is remembered. Create images that outlive the moment, and you will outlive your rivals. Law 38. Think as you like, but speak as others do. Freedom of thought is yours. No one can chain your inner mind. But freedom of speech is perilous. To speak too openly, to reveal ideas that threaten the beliefs of the many, is to invite resistance, suspicion, and attack. The wise keep their most radical thoughts hidden. Outwardly, they conform. They laugh at the jokes everyone laughs at. They nod at the opinions most people share. They speak the language of the crowd while preserving the independence of their inner world. This mask is not hypocrisy. It is armor. History is full of thinkers who revealed too much, too soon. Their brilliance was crushed, not because it was wrong, but because it was different. Yet those who concealed their true thoughts until the right moment changed the world. You must learn the same discipline. Think freely, plan boldly, but reveal only what will not awaken unnecessary enemies. Save your originality for the stage you control, not the streets where the mob rules. The 38th law: protect your freedom of thought by mastering your speech. The mask of conformity is not a prison, but a shield that guards the revolution within. Law 39. Stir waters to catch fish. Calm waters hide secrets. When people are composed, they are guarded. They choose their words carefully, they hide their weaknesses, and they reveal nothing. But stir the waters, agitate, provoke, disturb, and suddenly masks slip. When anger rises, people say things they would never confess in calmness. When confused, they make mistakes. When thrown off balance, they reveal vulnerabilities. This is why the skilled manipulator does not always fight directly. Instead, he creates turbulence, small insults, deliberate delays, subtle provocations, to shake others into exposing themselves. But while you stir the waters of others, you must never let your own waters be stirred. Remain calm while those around you rage. Be the still surface while others thrash, and you will see clearly while they drown in their own storm. This law is not about cruelty, it is about clarity. By unsettling your opponent, you strip away their armor. By remaining composed yourself, you become unshakable. The 39th law, chaos is a net. Stir it, and those who swim in it will reveal themselves. But never forget, the fisherman must never fall into his own water. Law 40. Despise the free gift. Every free gift carries a hidden hook. The hand that gives for nothing expects something in return, loyalty, submission, or silent debt. To accept such gifts blindly is to accept invisible chains. Powerful people know this. They are wary of generosity, especially when it appears unearned. They ask, why is this person giving me something for free? What do they gain? Often, the true cost of the gift emerges later, when the giver calls in their favor. And by then, it is too late. You are ensnared. Better to pay your own way. To invest your own resources, even at great cost. What you pay for is yours. What you take for free belongs to another. Independence is worth the price. This does not mean rejecting all kindness, but recognizing the hidden power dynamic within it. Accepting without caution makes you vulnerable. Refusing politely, or paying when others do not expect it, preserves your autonomy. The 40th law. Despise the free gift. True power cannot be bought cheaply. It is always better to own what you have earned than to borrow what belongs to another. Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. To inherit greatness is to inherit comparison. Step too closely into the path of a legend, and you will always be measured against them. No matter your efforts, people will say, he is not as strong, she is not as brilliant, they are not the same. History is cruel to successors. The child of a great leader rarely commands the same respect. The follower of a revolutionary is often dismissed as a shadow. When you walk in a giant's footsteps, you are trapped in their outline. The solution is not imitation, but separation. Do not try to fill another's shoes. Forge your own path, even if it begins smaller, humbler, or slower. Better to be known as the founder of something new than as the pale echo of someone greater. Distance yourself from the shadow of great figures. Honor them, perhaps, but do not chain your identity to theirs. The world admires originality, not repetition. The 41st law, do not inherit a throne only to be crushed by the memory of its former occupant. Build your own kingdom, however modest. Greatness is not borrowed, it is created. Law 42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Groups draw their strength from leaders. A movement is rarely held together by the masses. It is held by the one voice that unites them, the one figure they follow. Destroy that figure, and the group collapses. Enemies often surround themselves with followers, and it is tempting to attack the crowd. But crowds are resilient. Remove one, and another steps forward. The true strategy is to identify the shepherd, the leader, the inspiration, the hidden source of unity, and strike there. History proves this law again and again. Rebellions were crushed not by fighting every soldier, but by capturing the leader. Rivalries were ended not by silencing every critic, but by removing the one who spoke for them all. The fall of one powerful figure leaves their followers lost, disorganized, and vulnerable. This law demands precision. Strike carelessly, and the group may find a new leader even stronger than the first. But strike wisely, and the entire flock dissolves. The 42nd law. Do not waste energy battling the many. Find the one who holds the strings and cut them. The sheep cannot march without the shepherd. Law 43. Work on the hearts and minds of others. Force can bend bodies, but it cannot command true loyalty. Fear can silence voices, but it cannot silence thoughts. The deepest power is not over the hands of others, but over their hearts and minds. To influence hearts, you must give people something to believe in, something to love, something that feels larger than themselves. Inspire them, and they will serve you willingly, not because they are forced, but because they want to. To influence minds, you must shape perception. If people see you as wise, as just, as powerful, they will behave toward you as though these qualities are undeniable. Think of great leaders who stirred devotion. Their armies marched not because of whips, but because of faith. Their followers obeyed not because of chains, but because of admiration. The one who wins hearts and minds never lacks supporters. But tread carefully. To neglect this law is to rule in constant fear. If you do not reach hearts, your authority is brittle. If you do not shape minds, your image is vulnerable. The 43rd law, fear may control for a day, but loyalty born of love and belief endures. To master people, master their inner world. Law 44. Disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. Few things are more unsettling than seeing yourself reflected back. When your rival raises their voice and you raise yours in the exact same way, when they accuse and you accuse in return, when every move they make is mirrored, they grow confused, frustrated, even enraged. The mirror is a powerful weapon. By copying behavior, you deny your enemy the satisfaction of dominance. They cannot use their usual tactics because you reflect them. The more they push, the more they find themselves pushing against their own shadow. But the mirror does more than disarm. It unsettles. People do not like seeing their flaws or aggression played back at them. It forces them to confront themselves, often driving them into reckless mistakes. This tactic must be used carefully. If done too openly, it can feel childish. If done too subtly, it loses its sting. But used at the right time, mirroring can break an opponent without a single blow. The 44th law, reflection is a weapon. Become the mirror, and your enemy will shatter themselves upon their own image. Law 45. Preach the need for change but reform slowly. People resist sudden change. Even when they complain about the present, even when they demand improvement, a part of them clings to what is familiar. The past feels safe, even when it is broken. The new feels dangerous, even when it promises hope. That is why revolutions often devour their leaders. Those who move too fast, who shatter tradition overnight, awaken fear and backlash. Crowds that once cheered become mobs that overthrow. Reform must come, but it must come like the rising sun, slowly, steadily, almost imperceptibly, until one day the world is illuminated and no one remembers the darkness. The wise leader speaks of change to inspire, but delivers it in measured steps. Each reform is wrapped in the language of tradition, each new idea disguised as a natural continuation of what already exists. In this way, resistance is softened, and people accept transformation as though it were inevitable. The 45th law, do not rush the human heart. Preach the glory of the future, but lead people there slowly, step by step, until the new feels as old as memory. Law 46. Never appear too perfect. Perfection invites envy, and envy breeds enemies. When you seem flawless, too talented, too fortunate, too unshakable, others begin to despise you, not for what you have done, but simply for what you are. They will search for cracks, invent flaws, or plot your downfall just to see you stumble. Imperfection, on the other hand, makes you human. A small weakness, a minor mistake, even one you allow intentionally, softens resentment. People forgive the talented if they see a flaw they can relate to. They admire strength more when it appears balanced with humility. This does not mean lowering your standards or embracing mediocrity. It means showing just enough imperfection to disarm envy. Let others believe they are slightly superior in some area. Reveal a flaw here and there, not to diminish yourself, but to prevent the poison of jealousy from spreading. The truly powerful do not shine without shadow. They manage their image carefully, balancing greatness with traces of humanity. The 46th law, never appear too perfect. Show enough vulnerability to avoid envy, while keeping your true strength intact. Law 47, do not push beyond the point of victory. The greatest danger often comes not in defeat but in triumph. Victory intoxicates. It makes you believe you are invincible, that nothing can stop you, that every move you make will be crowned with success. And in this intoxication, the victor overreaches, pushing too far, demanding too much, refusing to stop. History is filled with conquerors who lost everything because they could not recognize when enough was enough. They gained kingdoms, then stretched beyond their limits and collapsed under the weight of ambition. They could not resist the hunger for just a little more, and that little more became their downfall. The wise know when to stop. They understand that true power lies in restraint. To pause after victory is to secure it, to consolidate it, to ensure it lasts. To push too far is to turn triumph into ashes. Celebrate your wins quietly. Do not be consumed by the rush of conquest. Know the moment to withdraw, to hold, to let others imagine what more you could do if you wished. But choose not to. The 47th law, victory is sweetest when it endures. Do not let greed rob you of what you already won. Law 48. Assume formlessness. Everything rigid eventually breaks. Trees snap in storms. Stone crumbles under pressure. Nations built on unbending rules collapse in revolution. The strongest structure is not the one that resists all change, but the one that bends, shifts, and adapts. Formlessness is the highest form of power. When you tie yourself to a fixed identity, a fixed plan, or a fixed method, you become predictable. Predictability makes you vulnerable, but when you are fluid, able to change shape, to reinvent yourself, to adapt as circumstances demand, no one can grasp you, trap you, or destroy you. Water is the perfect image of this law. It takes the shape of whatever holds it. It can flow gently or crash violently. It is soft enough to slip through cracks, yet strong enough to erode mountains. By being formless, water is indestructible. You must become like water. Do not cling to one mask, one strategy, one role. Let others try to define you, then change before their definition traps you. The 48th law, remain fluid, adaptable, shapeless. When you are formless, you are untouchable. Closing. These are the 48 laws of power. They are not commandments. They are mirrors reflecting how the world truly works. Some will repel you. Some will attract you. All of them will open your eyes. Remember, power is not good or evil. It is simply energy, neutral and raw. Like fire, it can warm or it can burn. What matters is how you use it. So now ask yourself, which of these laws are already shaping your life? Which have you ignored and paid the price for? And which 3 will you choose to practice more consciously, deliberately, this week? Because once you begin to see the laws of power, you will see them everywhere. And once you see them, you cannot go back. Use them wisely, use them well. And never forget, in the end, the greatest power is the power to know yourself.